Hi everyone, and welcome back to Vibing with a Vision. I want to take the opportunity and say thank you to everyone who has liked, shared, and subscribed to our channels. Since launching Vibing with a Vision, the support has been overwhelming, and I thank you for finding my content helpful. And I'm really excited because I'm at the end of my day. I got my wine going on here and I opened up my screen and I got my first message. And so I was very excited in regards to this viewer who had watched our previous video of Everton and I. And we were speaking about saving, and for people who are not very disciplined, how could they save some money? And I was throwing out a strategy of saving up at least $1,000 and then locking it into a CD. This particular viewer sent me a message today asking the question, what happens if you have a significant amount of money? Where would you park it? And so her concern is she has about 100K just sitting in a high yielding savings account, and she wants to know, is this the best place for it? And what would I do if it was my 100K? And after speaking with her just a little bit, I said to her, she's unprotected. And so if you have any form of asset, if you have anything of significance that someone can take from you, you really shouldn't have it under your personal name. Even if you're a young person, you're never too young to have a trust. Even if you just don't want an LLC or you don't want, the responsibility of certain things, I would suggest that you get a trust. A trust is something that's there. It's a separate entity from you, and it will protect you. I don't want to talk too much about trust, about revocable and irrevocable, but I definitely do believe that if you have assets, those assets really should be under a trust. With that said, I explained to her that if she wanted to, she can get herself an LLC or a trust and open up a bank account with that LLC or that trust. And then we can look to park that money. Now, one of the strategies that I use, and there are different strategies. There's a lot of people that will tell you that you can put your money, keep it in a high yielding savings account, or you can have it in a money marketing. All of those are great. There's others that I'm sure that's out there that I have no experience about, so I can't speak about. I can only give information based upon what I have done. And so one of the things that I think is rarely discussed, I have been doing this now for almost 10 years, and I rarely hear people talk about it. And it's not a secret. It's really fully out there, but it's underutilized because I feel like not a lot of people do utilize this. And it's a good place to park your money. And it is with the Treasury Department. There is something called Treasury bills that you can buy from TreasuryDirect.com. And this is one of the best place, in my opinion, that I've used that is a great place for you to park 100K. Now, I think the minimum for you to buy notes is $100, but for me, I don't feel like $100, $200 is significant enough for me to buy Treasury bills. And so I think that if you have substantial amount of money, it is worth your while. Now, you may say, Denise, what the hell is Treasury bills, right? For the people who've never heard of Treasury bills, I'll say it as simple as possible. Treasury bills is just a way for you to lend the federal government your money, and then they return it back to you. When they close out, because it's variable interest, so when they close out, whatever interest they close out at, that's what you'll get. So, but I have found that it's very competitive with their interests because again, they want you to lend them your money. So that is somewhere where you can go and actually park your money. Now, at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you the strategy of parking your money, because everything for me is like a strategy. So Treasury bills are safe. To me, they're better than CDs. And I don't use CDs anymore. I used to use CDs until I discovered Treasury bills. The reason why they're better than CDs, it's because with CDs, you're locked in for a long period of time, and there is penalty should you decide to take your money. Now, not to say that there's not penalty if you decide to take your money from the Treasury, but you get to lock it in at shorter terms. So I think CDs are like 6 months is the shortest term. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty much sure it's like 6 months. You have 6, 9, and 12 months, or 18 months. For the Treasury, they start at 4 weeks. So they go 4 weeks to 52 weeks. And so you can lock in your money at any of those increments. For me, if I had 100K and I was going to lock it in, I wouldn't just lock in 100K and be done. The reason why I picked the Treasury bills as a place to park my money, it's because of the flexibility. So I am always looking for an opportunity, and I believe that when the opportunity comes, I want to have cash available. Whether if I'm looking to buy a building and I need the earnest money, and the earnest money is $20,000, I want to make sure that I have $20,000 available to me to put for that earnest money. Again, Treasury Department, the TreasuryDirect is the place where if I parked my money, I can get back my money. That's not a problem. Is it safe? Absolutely safe. It's one of the safest places. I know there are people that might be concerned about the economy. Again, safe place. Unless the American economy tanked tomorrow to the point that's the only way. But if you look at it, banks itself can turn upside down. So it is as safe can be in regards to somewhere to put your money. It's not something where it's a risky and it's an investment. It's not. It's you lending your money, and at the end you get your money back, and they give you something back for lending, for borrowing your money. So one of the great benefits of having the TreasuryDirect is that you pay federal taxes on the interest only, but you pay no local or state tax at all on any of the portion of your Treasury bills. Whereas in a regular savings account, you do pay not only federal, but you do pay state taxes on interest from your savings account. So that is something, another plus, especially when you're dealing with large amount of money that you've parked somewhere. That is somewhere. That is a good thing, that you're not being taxed on that. It's pretty easy to open up an account. Anybody can open an account. You can open it up as an individual, or you can open it up as a trust, a corporation, an LLC. You can open up anything. For my viewer, what I would say is I encouraged her to do a trust. I encouraged her, if she didn't want to do a trust, at least do an LLC and get a bank account in that LLC name. Move that 100K into that bank account, and then use that bank account and transfer money into TreasuryDirect and start buying your Treasury bills. Now, once you decide that you've set up your account, and I must tell you, it's a very simple process. You do not need a broker. If you have a broker, that's wonderful, but I find that I'm a do-it-yourself type of person, and I don't need a broker, and it's pretty simple and step-by-step that you can follow. It is a little convoluted because of the website is very outdated. It's not like, I think the government is a little behind in updating updating their website. But for the most part, it is pretty simple step. If you are going through an LLC, there's just a couple extra steps where they might look for verification, and a verification process, like anything, you just have to go through the process. But once you get to the process, you can then buy your Treasury bills. Now, the way that I look to buy Treasury bills is in increments. So let's say, for instance, I had that 100K. I would then go in and buy it in 4 weeks. I would buy 20. I would lend the government $20,000 for 4 weeks. I'm going to use the word lend because it's easier for people to understand when I say it's lending the government money and they pay you back with interest. And what you do is, let's say you lend the government $20,000 for 4 weeks, $20,000 for 8 weeks, $20,000 for 13 weeks, $20,000 for 26 weeks, and so on. Then what you do is, every 4 weeks or couple weeks, you have your money coming back to you. So if an opportunity arises, you would then have that money that is available to you, and you don't have to worry that, one, you have that 100K locked down and locked for however long time. Now, you could say to me, you know what, I think I want the 100K and I'm just going to give it to them for 52 weeks, and at the end I'll get my lump sum. That's honestly, there's no bad strategy. It's the strategy that works for you that is the best strategy. And so, but for me, I find that because I am someone who's always looking for an opportunity, I'm always looking to, get into a deal, I don't ever want to tie up money that I have parked too long. But it is a good way to make money while it is parked, and it's a competitive rate. It's not like they're so behind time that they're giving you piddlies for your money. They're not. They are very competitive. So let's say, for instance, as I said, we give the government in increments of 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 13 weeks, 26 weeks. At the end of my 4 weeks, I get my 20,000 plus whatever interest they're giving me, and I move it to the back of that 26 weeks that I had stopped, and let's say we push it out to 30 weeks instead. So every couple weeks that money is just revolving. You can then put it on auto, where you're just automatically revolving it once you get your pattern down. Or you could say, you know what, I want to manually go in, I want to pull the interest, put the interest back into my account, and just let that 20,000, that 100K rotate constantly for me, and whatever interest I make off of them, I move it over to the actual account that's linked to the TreasuryDirect. That is something that you can do. Now, once you get onto the TreasuryDirect and you're buying Treasury bills, one of the things you're going to hear is auction. I don't want people to think, oh, you have to auction anything. They use the term auction because at the end of their process, that's whatever they close out is what you're going to receive. You don't have to do anything. They just close out. They call it auction. At the end of the auction, whatever interest rate that they close out, that's the interest rate that they pay everybody. And so that's all that is. So if you go on there and you see auction, don't be alarmed or concerned or anything. You are just going in, lending your money, and getting your money back. That's it. Nothing complicated. When you go on the website, you just really want to look for Treasury bills. You don't want to, unless you're buying bonds or anything else, you can buy it through there, but Treasury bills is what I use TreasuryDirect to buy. As I said, it is a good way for you to park such a long lump sum of money, but again, you want to make sure you're protecting that money. So two ways the one way you're going to protect this money is, one, to really put it under something. You can't have it exposed, because should something happen, you just want to make sure that it is protected. So the Treasury bills, as I said, it's a pretty easy set. It's a pretty easy setup, a little convoluted, but it's pretty, for the most part, easy to set up and buy Treasury bills, and that is a good way to park your money until an opportunity comes. So I've explained this to the viewer, and I told her that I think that she should at least go and do her due diligence, do her research, make sure this is something that she can do, because again, the strategy work if you can understand it and if you can apply it. It doesn't work if it's you can't follow it, you don't understand it, then it's just not for you. So I'm hoping that, she'll find this useful, and she'll check in with me. She did tell me that she'll check in with me and let me know, what she decided and how it's working for her. I hope that anyone who is listening and has, a large amount of money, or even if, again, you can start with at least $100. It's something to get familiar with the website, familiar how they use it without investing a lump sum. You could start with $100. You can lend the government $100 and see how it works, and then you can start investing your bigger or larger amounts. But you'll find that it is one of the, it's a really good resource that not a lot of people know, and I am very shocked that not a lot of people know about it, and the people who do know about it, they do keep it a secret. Not really sure why, especially given that the federal government is looking to borrow people's money. But anyway, I hope this helped you guys also. So anyone who has a lump sum of cash and not sure what to do with it, I hope this is something that you guys can go and investigate and see if this fits what it is that you're trying to do. Well, thank you.